Howdy y'all and welcome. I hope everybody's doing well out there so far. Let's go and get into the fall outlook here. As summertime is coming to a close, and to take a look at this, we're going to take a look at the ENSO probabilities to take a look at whether or not we're going to be in a La Nina or El Nino as we head into the fall season. Now, if any indication that spring was very wild as far as weather goes, we had a lot of tornado outbreaks, and it's looking like fall is going to be pretty wild as well, as it's looking like there's a 66% chance of La Nina conditions as we head into September and November. As y'all can see down below here, we're currently in a neutral pattern, and we're going to be heading into a moderate La Nina fall season. Y'all may be confused as to what the heck does this even mean. Well, La Nina basically means cooler waters out there by the Pacific, down by the equator. You can see here, this is the best graphic I could find. It's a wintertime graphic, but it'll work for fall too. We can see we're going to be dry and warm down here amongst the southern half of the country, sort of wet out here amongst the Ohio Valley, cool up here in the north central part of the country, and wet and cool out here out west. And here's a little bit of a better graphic to show y'all. And we actually had our first snowfall of the season over here in Glacier National Park up by Montana, as winter storm advisories have already been issued along with high wind warnings through later tonight. So get out there and enjoy the snowfall if you live out by that way. If there's any ski resorts open, get out there and enjoy those, and send me any pictures if you want to on X and Facebook. I'll have links to those in the description down below. Now, before we get into my forecast of what we could expect, take a look at the Farmer's Almanac here. We can see that much of the central and western part of the country is going to be dealing with well above average temperatures, while the eastern part of the country is going to be near normal to a little bit below average. That's why in the thumbnail I put that we could be coming in on an early winter out east. Now, as far as the precipitation goes, it's looking like much of the central part of the country here and a little bit of the western part is going to be below average, while out here by California and much of the eastern part of the country here is going to be well above average. So we could be coming in on some snowfall. We head into the fall months, y'all, out here amongst the eastern part of the country. Now let's go ahead and get into the weather bell models. Take a look at the troughs and ridges. As you can see here in August, a little bit of a ridging pattern out west, and really much of the country is going to be in a little bit of a ridging pattern. But then as we head into the end of August here, August 31st, we can see the eastern part of the country is going to be getting in on a little bit of a troughing pattern, while the western part of the country is going to be in a major ridge. Could mean some warming temperatures out west and a little bit of cool temperatures out east. But watch as we head into September. Could be coming in on very cool temperatures out west as a trough is going to be making its way towards y'all. And we're going to be in a ridge out east. Could mean above average temperatures out east and cool temperatures out west. Stark contrast as to what the Farmer's Almanac was showing, but keep in mind, we still got October and November to go, as we can see, remaining the same in October. But November, we can see we could be coming in on winter-like conditions, coming in on some snowfall here in November. And of course, December typically is pretty cold, so definitely prepare for what could be an early winter for the eastern part of the country. If there's any indication of what this fall will look like, just look back at spring. Spring was pretty wild, and it was a La Nina spring, so if any indication that La Nina brings some crazy weather, then looking like fall could be pretty crazy as well. Now, let's go ahead and get into the temperature anomalies. We can see here in September, much of the central part of the country from Idaho down into Texas, a little bit below average, while over here by Washington and much of the eastern part of the country is going to be well above average. Headed into October, much of the country is going to be well above average, except for up here in the northwest. You already got your first snow up here in Montana. And it's looking to really get cold as we head into November. Much of the country is going to be below average, except for over here in Colorado, down into Texas, and much of the Northeast as well. And of course, December, first day of winter, December 21st. I will have my winter outlook video up in the beginning of October sometime, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that, y'all. Look like we could come in on a wild winter as well. Look at February, y'all. Well below average temperatures. Now keep in mind, forgot to mention this earlier, but keep in mind that anything over a week, that's virtually impossible to forecast, let alone months from now, but definitely keep in mind that we could be coming in on an early winter, y'all. And as we take a look at the Climate Protection Center's seasonal outlook from September to November, we can see much of the country is going to be well above average. Now, I'm thinking this is more for September and October, because November was showing well below average temperatures out east, as well as the Farmer's Almanac, so it's definitely something to watch, y'all. Now, lastly, let's go ahead and get into the precipitation outlook. We can see as we head into September, much of the eastern part of the country is going to be well below average, And it's looking like the central and western part of the country is going to be way above average. You can see out here by Washington, California, well above average as we hit in October. And it was sort of showing below average temperatures out there as well, which could mean a lot of snowfall and potential atmospheric rivers. Now, I use that word lightly, as that could potentially happen this year as well. Let's take a look at November. See, a little bit below average out west, still remaining sort of soggy up here in the north central part of the country. From the Ohio Valley down in the Tennessee Valley, a little bit below average. Northeast is going to be above average. And of course, December, it's looking to be above average down here in Texas. And of course, this is La La Land, of course. And according to the Climate Prediction Center seasonal outlook here, we can see much of the country is going to be well below average, except for from Maine down into Florida and up here in the Northwest, where it's looking like well above average precipitation is expected for the next few months. So, my prediction of what this fall will look like, I'm going to stick with what the Farmer's Almanac is saying, because above average temperatures out in the central and western part of the country is going to be looking likely, I think, as well as some cool temperatures could be in store out east. Now, I'm expecting the cool temperatures and some snowfall to occur in November. This could change, of course, so don't quote me on that. And as far as precipitation goes, these guys are on point with the Climate Prediction Center, which this is what I'm expecting as well. And speaking of fall, here's Alaska. They are already getting in on what is peak season of fall foliage up there. And send me in pictures of any fall foliage if you want to on X and Facebook. And here is when y'all could expect peak fall foliage for your area. Now in the next video, I will start putting up the fall map. This is what you could expect on September 4th. Color is going to be expected up here by Montana, where y'all got in on your first snowfall of the season. So definitely could be an early winter out east, and could be a warm and wet winter out amongst the western half of the country. Although there could be some early snowfall as we head in October over here by Washington and Oregon. Stayed this far in the video, y'all. I would like to thank y'all. Go ahead and show y'all got what we could expect for the next couple weeks here on the GFS. We're going to take a look back at the troughs and ridges. If you watch my Labor Day forecast video, I did say that there's going to be a little bit of a trough coming through. Could bring a cold front amongst much of the eastern part of the country and drop those temperatures down about 20 to 30 degrees. Could be a nice Labor Day weekend for much of the eastern half of the country, while the Northwest could be dealing with some pretty hot temperatures. And once we get past Labor Day weekend, major ridge is going to take hold of much of the country, and we could be dealing with a major heat wave as we head into the month of September. Now, speaking of temperatures, take a look at this. When we zoom in here, we already know we got some snowfall up here by Montana. Of course, it's going to be very chilly up there. It's going to be hot amongst much of the lower 48. But watch as we head into Labor Day weekend. We'll have a little bit of a cold front rolling through, and it's going to drop those temperatures down drastically as we head into Monday morning. So you can see Monday morning, about 40 degrees as far south as Kansas. But then as we get past Labor Day, we're going to be returning into a major heat wave amongst much of the country. As you can see here on the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook by the Climate Prediction Center, it's looking like much of the Northwest is going to be well above average due to a major ridge going to be setting up over there. And we're going to be well below average amongst much of the eastern part of the country, except for down here by Florida. And this is due to that major cold front that's going to be rolling through by Labor Day weekend, dropping those temperatures down about 20 to 30 degrees. So be aware of this if you're planning any cookouts with family and friends. Of course, the next 8 to 14 days, once we get past Labor Day, really much of the country is going to be near normal to above average, except for from Georgia up into Vermont. Be aware of cool fall-like temperatures here soon, y'all. Now, speaking of those Labor Day plans, take a look at the precipitation that y'all could be coming in on. Is your Labor Day weekend's plans going to get ruined? We already know it's going to be pretty cool out east. We know we got some severe weather for the next few days. Going to be bringing a cold front. It's going to drop those temperatures down about 20 to 30 degrees. We can see here, Labor Day weekend, much of the eastern half of the country is going to be very soggy. Labor Day weekends could get ruined, unfortunately, except for if you live from Kansas up in the Northwest. Looks like Labor Day weekend is going to be pretty good for y'all. But unfortunately out east, very, very soggy, especially down here by Texas. Non-stop rain and flooding down there. So definitely here on Monday. Rewind this back to Monday. Lift from Texas up into the Northeast. Prepare for some very soggy conditions. Spotty rainfall could be expected from this area here. So definitely plan accordingly. If you want to have family and friends over, if you want to bear the soggy conditions, do so. But I would recommend you bring that cookout inside so you don't get rained on. But once we get past Labor Day, it's looking to remain soggy down by Texas. Could be dealing with more severe weather down here by Oklahoma. Still remaining pretty dry up here in the Northwest, down into Indiana and Ohio. Still remaining soggy down here in the southern half of the country. And once we get into 200 hours out. Very uncertain, but it's looking like could be dealing with some very soggy conditions amongst the south central part of the country. And according to the Climate Prediction Center, they are saying just this. The South Central is going to be well above average due to some heavy rainfall down here by Texas. And we're going to be pretty soggy up here in the Northwest as well. Drying out from Montana up into the Northeast. Let's take a look at the next 8 to 14 days. Really much of the same story. More of the central part of the country is going to be below average. But we're still going to be above average among the South Central and Southeast up into the Northwest. Now, I know I'm jumping around here, but take a look at how much rainfall you could be getting in on down there in the south central part of the country. We can see that as we head into the beginning parts of September, could be dealing with a lot of heavy precipitation. About 5 inches of rainfall is expected as we head into September, so definitely localized flooding is going to be possible. Good for the drought conditions out there though, so some good news. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's weather forecast. Basically, some of this video, get out there and enjoy those fall leaves this fall, as it's looking like it's going to be a pretty warm start to fall amongst the eastern half of the country, but it's looking like we could be dealing with an early winter as we head into October into November potentially. Western half of the country is still going to be pretty warm and wet, so it's looking like a late fall is going to be in store out there. Although the Northwest already got in on their first snowfall, so definitely send me some fall foliage pictures if you want to, and send me any snow pictures as well on X and Facebook. Greatly appreciate that, y'all. And it's looking like the next couple of weeks could be dealing with a pretty chilly and wet Labor Day weekend if you live amongst the eastern half of the country, but if you live from Kansas up in the Northwest, it could be pretty dry. So again, get out there and enjoy this fall weather this fall. Get out there and enjoy those pumpkin spice drinks, apple cider, crunchy leaves, and even on Halloween, get all spooky, y'all. It's looking like fall season is going to be upon us here soon. So like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to share the video as well. Leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, because I'm sure I left something out. And until next time, appreciate y'all for watching. Never stop forecasting.